Some players just play the game, and then there are others who completely change it. Today, we're talking about the insane rise of a player who, before he was even old enough to drive, was already being called a true phenomenon, Lamine Yamal.
In 2024, the entire football world just had to stop and take notice. Why? Because a teenager, playing with the calm and the creativity of a seasoned pro, wasn't just filling a spot on the team sheet, he was winning games at the very highest level.
And look, this hype wasn't just coming from fans online. By 2025, you had the New York Times asking a question that would sound absolutely ridiculous for any other teenager. Is he already the best player in Europe? The fact that this was a serious debate, well, that tells you everything.
So how in the world did he get to this point so fast? I mean, it's one thing to have potential, right? But Yamal backed it all up with a trophy cabinet that most players would dream of having at the end of their entire careers.
Yeah, this wasn't a slow build-up at all. By the time he hit 18, the verdict was pretty much in from everyone. Pundits, fellow players, the media. Lamine Yamal wasn't just a star for the future, he was one of the best players on the planet right then and there.
And the awards? Man, the awards tell the story. Finishing second for the Ballon d'Or, football's biggest individual prize, is just mind-blowing. He also made history, becoming the first player ever to win the Kopa Trophy for the world's best young player twice. But he wasn't just about individual glory. He was the creative engine for a Barcelona team that won a domestic trouble. And he did all this after becoming the youngest Ballon d'Or nominee in history. It's just insane.
But to really understand the phenomenon, you have to look past the bright lights of the stadium. His story really begins in a place that made him who he is, both as a player and as a person.
Yamal is kind of the face of a new multicultural Spain. Born right near Barcelona, he's got roots that stretch to Equatorial Guinea through his mom and to Morocco through his dad. And this rich heritage, it's a huge part of his identity.
So you'll see him do this 304 gesture when he celebrates a goal. And that's not just some random number. It's the last 3 digits of the postcode for Rocafonda, the working-class neighborhood he grew up in. It's such a powerful statement, a tribute to a community often called forgotten, now being repped on the biggest stage in sports. His talent was just impossible to miss, even at a ridiculously young age. I mean, Barcelona's famous scouts found him when he was just 6 years old. 6! And by 2014, he was in La Masia, the legendary academy that's basically a factory for producing footballing geniuses.
Okay, so once he was in the Barcelona system, his rise wasn't really a climb. It was more like a rocket launch. He didn't just break records, he totally shattered them.
Just take a second and think about that. 15 years old. That's how old he was when he first walked onto the pitch for the senior team, becoming the youngest player to represent Barcelona in more than a century. It's just hard to even wrap your head around.
And after that debut in April 2023, the records just kept falling. 4 months later, boom, he's the youngest starter ever. 2 months after that, youngest goal scorer. And then, a year later, on the biggest stage in club football, he becomes the youngest player ever to score in El Clásico, just one after another.
So, what do you think a talent like this is worth to a club? Well, in October 2023, Barcelona gave us the answer. They signed him to a new contract with a €1 billion buyout clause. That's not a price tag, that's a fortress. It's a statement that says he is absolutely untouchable.
But, as amazing as his club career was taking off, it was on the international stage at Euro 2024 that he truly stamped his name as a global superstar.
His performance in that tournament was just a masterpiece. He kicked things off against Croatia by becoming the youngest player and assist provider in the history of the Euros. Then, in the semi-final against France, with the whole world watching, he scores this beautiful curling goal to become the youngest goal scorer ever. But he wasn't finished. In the final against England, he delivers another crucial assist. And when that final whistle blew, he was a European champion, the youngest to ever do it.
So yeah, it was pretty much a no-brainer when he was named the young player of the tournament. He wasn't just a passenger on a winning team, he was in the driver's seat, making the big plays when it counted the most.
So, after you've achieved more as a teenager than most players do in their entire lives, what's next? Seriously, where do you even go from here? Well, when you try to describe how he plays, you pretty much have to talk about 2 modern-day legends. His incredible skill and football intelligence get compared to La Masia's greatest ever student, Lionel Messi. But then you see his flair, his fearless dribbling, and his creativity, and that's pure Neymar. It's like he's a fusion of these 2 incredible players.
And then came this moment, hugely symbolic.
In 2025, Barcelona gave him the iconic number 10 jersey, the same shirt worn by legends like Ronaldinho and Messi. It's so much more than a number. It's the passing of the torch. It's the club saying, "You're the one. The team is built around you now."
And it's not just his own fans or coaches saying this stuff. After a big Champions League game, the manager of Inter Milan, Simone Inzaghi, he just summed it all up. He called Yamal a phenomenon born every 50 years. When your direct opponents are talking about you like that, you know you're witnessing something special.
So think about it. He's won the biggest trophies with his club, he's conquered a continent with his country, he's racked up some of the highest individual honors, and he's done it all before he even turned 19. The only question left is, what are the limits for a player who, so far, has shown us he doesn't have any?